Hello everyone. The next topic which we will be discussing here is about the hormones. So what are hormones? Hormones, they are the chemicals. They are the chemicals that are being synthesized and produced by the specialized glands, and they are produced by the specialized glands to control and regulate the activity of certain cells and organs. So these specialized glands, they are called as the endocrine glands, through which the hormones are being released. Now, so what does it do? What does the hormone do? So the hormones, they are responsible for controlling and regulating the activities of certain cells and organs. So these, as I have already told you, so these hormones, they are secreted by a ductless gland which is known as the endocrine gland. So these hormones are released by the endocrine gland. Now let's start with the first slide here, that what are hormones. So hormones, they are the chemicals that essentially function as messenger of the body. So that is why hormones, they are also known as the chemical messengers. So they are also known as the chemical messengers. So these chemicals, they are secreted by a special gland which is known as the endocrine gland. And these endocrine glands, they are distributed throughout the body, because these endocrine glands, they are the ductless glands, and they are also quite important in maintaining the homeostasis of the body. And these messengers, they control many physiological functions as well as physiological health. So they are very important in our body. Now, as I was telling you, that hormones, they are called as the chemical messengers. Now, why they are called the chemical messengers? Because the prominent role of a hormone is that of a messenger. For example, if I take an example here about the hypothalamus. So hypothalamus is the part of the forebrain where numerous amount of neurosecretory cells are present. Now these neurosecretory cells, they are specialized in the secretion of a hormone which is called as the neurohormone. Now they stimulate the anterior lobe of the puberty to produce various hormones. So they produce various hormones. Now sometimes hormones, they act more than a regulator than a messenger. So the changes in the level of hormone production lead to certain changes in the body. So if a hormone will change, for example, if there is a change in the level of, for example, estrogen hormone, so that will lead to certain changes in the body, that may lead to some diseases in the body as well. So the hormones, they are a regulator which maintain the homeostasis of the body. So once the hormone meets their target, their production needs to be controlled, and it is being attained by a mechanism which is known as the feedback control mechanism. So this is known as the feedback control mechanism. And this mechanism can be either positive or it can be either negative. Now, I am talking about the cell signaling here. So the effect of hormones depend on how they are released. So these are some of the signaling effects which are being classified as autocrine, paracrine, intracrine and endocrine. Now what are these? So auto, as the name suggests, the hormone acts on the cells secreted it. So it will act on the cell which is on the cell that secreted it. If I talk about paracrine, so these are the hormones that act on the nearby cell without having to enter the blood circulation. So these hormones will act on the nearby cell itself. Intracrine. Intracrine, they are produced in the cell and act intravenously, which means they will be the part of the inside the cell. So these hormones, they are produced in the cell and act as intravenously. Now, if I talk about endocrine, so these hormones act on the target cells once it is released from the respective glands into the bloodstream. So what they will do, they will act on the target cell. So this was about the cell signaling. Now there are two types of hormone which are being further divided. So to regulate various functions, there are different types of hormones which are produced in the body. So first is the peptide hormone and the second is the steroid hormone. Now what are these hormones? So peptide hormones, they are composed of, what are they are composed of? So as the term peptide, so they will be composed of amino acids and they are soluble in water as well. So peptide hormones, they're unable to pass through the cell membrane. Why? Because it contains a phospho phospholipid layer, bilayer, that stops any fat insoluble molecules from diffusing into the cell. So insulin, it is an important peptide hormone that is produced by the pancreas. So it is an important hormone that is being produced by the pancreas. Now, if I talk about steroid hormones, so steroid hormones, they are fat soluble. What are these hormones? These hormones, they are fat soluble and are able to pass through the cell membrane, and they will also pass through the cell membrane. They will pass through the cell membrane as well. So the examples of the steroid hormones will include the estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. So these are all the examples of the steroid hormones. Now, these are some of the list of some important hormones. Now, cortisol. It has been named as the stress hormone. So it is named as a stress hormone because it helps the body in responding to stress. So whenever there is a stress, the cortisol hormone will release because it will help in responding to the stress. This is done. How this is done? This is done by increasing the heart rate, elevating the blood sugar levels, etc. Now comes the estrogen hormone. So this is the main sex hormone which is present in where? It is present in the woman, which brings about puberty, prepares the uterus in the body for the pregnancy, and even it will also regulate the menstrual cycle in the women's. And estrogen level changes during menopause as well, because of which women experience many uncomfortable symptoms. Next comes the melatonin. What it does, it helps to control the sleep cycle. So it will help to control the sleep cycle. Next comes the progesterone. So progesterone is also a female sex hormone. So it is also a female sex hormone, and what role does that play in the females? So it is responsible for the menstrual cycle, pregnancy and embryogenesis. So this is the role of progesterone. Now comes the testosterone. So testosterone is a male sex hormone. So what is it? It is a male sex hormone. And this is the most important sex organ which is synthesized in men, because of this hormone there is a puberty which takes place in men. It will There will be a muscle mass growth, and they strengthen the bones and the muscle. They increase bone density, and they also control the facial hair growth in case of the men. So this was some of the important hormones. Now, we have been discussing hormones. Now, what are the important functions of the hormone? So, first of all, the important functions will include the food metabolism, growth and development, controlling the thirst and hunger, then maintaining the body temperature, regulating mood and cognitive functions, inhib- initiating and maintaining sexual development and reproduction. So these are some of the functions of the hormone. So this was all about the hormones. These are some of the references. Thank you.